All right, so real quick, guys, I want you to do something for me. Go like this. I want everyone to go like this. Go like this. Go like this. Go like this. All right? Heart, soul, mind, strength. All right? Keep that in mind. So we're going to be continuing our topical series today, and I'm going to be talking about fear. We talked about a lot of other stuff to overcome, and I really thought that fear is a big one. And it's easy to overcome fear. As you can see, I'm standing here with my fear of presenting to you guys. I also want to share a story with you about this pretty cool person that overcame fear. You might know this person, you might not. I know this person, very special in my life. When they were a kid, they had a little attack, a little surprise thrown at them. They were this bat flew into their face, and it just started freaking out. And just great fear of bats. Just great fear, and I told my wife that she missed her chance of becoming Batman, but she didn't want to listen to me. So, we all know Batman, but I was talking about my wife there. There's some simple common fears that we have, like who's afraid of heights? Controllable heights, like helicopters or stuff. Like, if I'm on top of a mountain, can't do that. Yeah, gondolas, ski lifts, can't do that. What about open bodies of water? Afraid of a shark attack. See, I'm just afraid of being stranded. So space, can't do space. I love space movies. I cannot do space. What about things that fly when you try to kill it? You try to smack it, and then all of a sudden, that cockroach flies away. No, thank you. I'm on a chair, screaming for my life. My wife's like, "What's going on? You told me that cockroach you told me to kill?" Yeah, it flew at me, and I ducked down. But see, those are trivial fears. You know, those are things we're just scared of. Like phobias, not real phobias. They're just daily things. But like, what are some real fears though? Like for me, I don't have kids yet, but I have a fear of failing as a father. I have a fear of messing my life up so bad that no one around me wants to help. I have a fear of disappointing God with my decisions and my failure and my future. I have a fear of relinquishing control and not being able to do it myself. See, we don't fear the things that we have control over. Our lives, if we have control over, we're not really tempted by fear. We're not really engaged with fear. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at some other people in the Bible and see how they have fear. And see if they were able to overcome it and how they did. So in chapter 28, Matthew 28, Jesus just died and he's in the tomb for 3 days and he's resurrected. And so the women go to the tomb and there are Roman guards there. They're knocked out. They didn't know what happened. The tomb's open. And they look in and who's there? It's an angel in Jesus' place. And it goes on. And so the women and the guards see this angel and they're terrified because the guards shook for fear of him, the angel, and became like dead men. That's probably the first instance that we see a cardiac arrest. First time that they're so scared, so afraid, that they look dead. In the beginning of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 26, the disciples are out on the water and there's a storm happening and they see this ghost. Here's how it goes. When the disciples saw him, Jesus, they didn't know it was Jesus at the time. They saw him walking on the sea and they were terrified. You want to talk about scared. That's what a moment to be scared. They say, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. So another time would be around the time of David and Goliath. Now, David, we didn't see fear from him. We actually saw him overcome fear. I'll get to that in a bit. But we see that David's brothers and the rest of the army feared Goliath. No one would go up to him and challenge Goliath. So here's the fear. And so how do we overcome it? Well, first, in order to overcome fear, we need to know exactly what fear is. Webster's dictionary defines fear as an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. Self-harm, something that can hurt us, like a spider coming at you, even though you can just step on it. It still causes panic in women and me. Biblical definition. And so that fear is actually, it's called unholy fear. Just something that's not godly, but it's still fear. A biblical definition is profound reverence and awe, especially toward God. And that's a godly fear. And that's something completely different that we can spend another series on, but that's not the type of fear I'm talking about. See, the type of fear I'm talking about is this. It's my own definition, so right now you guys can write it down. It's the Chris Hayes Biblical Dictionary definition of fear. Things or events that are out of one's self-control that directly impacts oneself. I call that rational fear. Because in our minds, we rationalize that we are okay to be afraid of it. Another definition is simply put, anxious concern. Things that are out of our control that impact us directly, we fear. Because we don't want to give up control. We don't want the fear of the unknown to impact us. And we're scared. Like I said, I'm scared of my future children. I don't have children right now, so why am I scared? That directly impacts me because it shows how well of a father I was. So it's simply, to overcome fear, it's simply this. Trust in Jesus and allow God to control your life. That's it. I can go home now. I told you how to overcome fear, but that doesn't do it. So remember, I told you guys earlier, heart, soul, mind, strength. So if we take a look back at the story of the disciples in the boat freaking out over Jesus, they're literally scared of Christ. Peter, though, he sees Jesus on the water. What does he want to do? Let me join you. He might have taken a bit of time to get out of that boat, but he ended up being one of the only two men to walk on water. There was something inside of Peter that time where he walked out. He was no longer scared of the potential ghost or of the storm going around him that allowed him to put all of his trust in God, of all his heart, his soul, his mind, and his strength to be able to walk on water. Now, eventually we do see that the storm caught back up with Peter. That the rest of the world decided to put fear into Peter, even though he was fixed on Jesus. So if we look back at David, he wasn't scared. He went out to Goliath and said, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to get you. Not only am I going to get you, I'm going to get your brothers. Because he grabbed enough stones for all the giants. So what does he do? He throws that rock because he has trust in God. He has trust with all his heart, with all his soul, with all his mind, with all his strength. And I personally believe that when that stone hit Goliath, it wasn't the stone, it wasn't David that killed Goliath. Because it says that Goliath fell forward. When you're hit in the head from the front, your automatic reaction is to fall backwards. But that God was behind him and shoved him down. So God has it. So for a moment, they did not fear. They put all their trust in God. So stepping out of the boat and facing your giants, what do? Well, we're not really trying to walk on water, and I don't really have any 8-foot giants trying to face. No one's trying to capture my people, trying to kill my people. I don't play on the basketball team, so I don't have any giants. But some giants that we may have is just trying to survive to next week. Who's had enough school? Who's just feared that they're going to fail class? Who has fear that they're graduating? That the faces, the problems that they face just trying to graduate. Not trying to land a job. After graduation, then what? I'm just trying not to mess my life up. Any of you? I'm scared of that. My life, mission field, kids on my mission field, I'm terrified. So I said it before, I am scared to relinquish control over. I want to control myself. That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't do drugs. I like control. So I'm going to tell you right now, if we decide to hold on to control, facing our giants alone, that's a form of pride. That you are too selfish to be able to give yourself over and have someone else, God, control your life. I don't need you, God. I can handle my own future. I got this. That's pride. Maybe you forgot that God is the God of Almighty, that He's the strength of the universe, that He is the strongest being that there could possibly ever be. God can't do it. If God can't do it, if you're saying that God can't do it, that's pride. God is love. And the first part of John 4:18 says this: there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves punishment. And the one who fears is not perfect in love. So I'm here to say that wherever you are in love with Jesus Christ, all fear will be cast out. You're perfected in love and your sins have been forgiven. Your future has been secured. God's got this. Write that down. God's got this. One of my favorite lines of the entire thing about fear. Every time I think of God's greater than the boogeyman. VeggieTales, anyone? Ooh, I love that one. I love that episode. So I need you guys follow along with me. Heart, soul, mind, strength. All right? You need to trust God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. You need to worship God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. You need to pray to God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. You need to live your life with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength for God. And you need to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Because if we fear, we like to trust that God has got this. Because you need to know that whatever fear you have, God's got this. You relinquish control. You give your life over. God has got this. Now, I'm not saying that there's not going to be moments in your life that you're in fear. But in that moment, you need to pray. You need to think about, is God bigger than this fear? Or is this fear bigger than God? Because if you think that fear is bigger than this God, you're saying that God doesn't got this. God's not strong enough. My God cannot save me from my sins. That's what you're thinking. And so if you're here today, never being able to experience the perfected love that God has, then you need to pray with me. You need to bow your heads and you need to pray with me, because God has got this. So let's go ahead and pray. God, we thank you so much, because you have got this. You have my life. You have control of my life. You have taken over. I'm no longer afraid. We're no longer afraid, God, because you have got this. Yes, my future is ahead. Yes, we may be scared about losing our job. But God, everything we do isn't for your glory. Lord, allow us to love you. Allow us to live by your word with all of our hearts, with all of our soul, with all of our mind, with all of our strength. Everything we do is for you, God. In Jesus Christ's name.